What's up? You're watching the Easy Reader Music Edition with us, Special C. December 22nd. Gosh.
2007.
Yeah, 2007. It was my birthday, and I had a bunch of bands playing, and we had been jamming, and I was like, we're too cool and too good. Like, we need to do a show, or I don't want to play with you guys anymore. It's too rad. And this, we went to the VFW and played, and it was super rad. A long time ago, God, 10, 15 years ago, was a garage punk band called Product, and we used to jam down behind the refinery or the water powered plant, because we had this storage container we could just play all night, and that's how all that started. And then I used to jam with his brother in a band called Dubweiser, and we would just go around to parties and play, and a bunch of little side bands in between here and there, just showing respect to rad singers and whatnots to bands that once were around here that we think are still a rad. So that's my story.
Before these guys, I just played guitar a long time because my dad's like a hippie musician guy, so I grew up with a guitar in my hands. But prior to these guys, I was only in one band with this guy Doug Carrion, who's well known in the South Bay. He's been in Descendants and Dag Nasty and Humble Gods and all kinds of stuff. But through the connections at South Bay, I went to school with his younger brother, and he started a band called 6 Degrees of Right. Doug Carrion did, so I was fortunate enough to be in his band, 6 Degrees. But that's the only band that was serious, that was like a band that played shows that I'd been in prior to being with these knuckleheads.
I didn't start playing bass until I was in my 20s. And when I did, I kind of jammed with Dustin and a couple other guys. Dustin and a friend, Donnie, and I started a band that we ended up calling for one show Mind Over Moron. And that was about it. And then I didn't play for a really long time until I got together with these guys.
Well, my brother is in a pretty famous punk band, so obviously I was surrounded by killer punk rock, but Descendants always comes to mind. That was like the first music that actually made me feel something and fit what I was going through in that point in my life. So Descendants, I mean, I'm a fan of all music, but I mean, punk and reggae, just, it makes me want to move and throw things all at the same time.
Well, growing up, like, I always just loved, like, from my dad, I just loved guitar, so obviously the obvious choices, Hendrix and Ray Vaughan and stuff like that. But as a youth, I liked the hard stuff like metal and Maiden and Priest, and anything with heavy guitars I was a fan of. Ozzy. But then locally, the local scene with like the Pennywise with Fletcher and stuff, he's pretty good. And of course, across the bridge over there in Long Beach, Sublime was always a huge influence.
Originally, the first guy that got me into bass was Steve Harris from Iron Maiden. Because the guy's unbelievable. And I was really into Iron Maiden when I was, like a freshman, sophomore in high school. I really liked him a lot. And he was a big influence on me. And then later on, just all the reggae greats influenced me. That style, and that's what I really began to pick up on, is that old, like, roots reggae style. The difference between punk in the late 80s, early 90s, is that there's still people around that were listening to it, and it's not going to be the exact same, but it's paying homage to it. It's putting our own flavor on something that we really love. So, and I think that's what's going on, especially around here.
It's just the same thing. It's the same as it was. It's like when the Minutemen used to play, people came to see Flag and they tripped out on the Minutemen because they were so weird. But at the comings and goings of all of that in the 80s and 90s, it's like we're playing what we play today, but like you said, we pay homage, and we'll always play a Black Flag song in our set.
And it's always changed, like there's bands now set on right that are so hardcore and rad, and they're bringing the old school punk back. And that's one thing I've noticed around here is the scene's kind of going back to the old school and getting more to the 80s style punk rock. Even the way people are dressing and the music they're playing, it's totally going full circle.
There's a lot less shows that the kids can see. I see that as a huge difference, but the music itself is very retro and very true to South Bay roots.
To me, punk rock now in the South Bay is where it's always been. It seems like just on the beaches and on the skate path and out in the waves, and all the local kids growing up here who appreciate bands who came, you know, in prior generations.
Where punk rock is in Hermosa Beach, well, South Bay now, I think is, like Evan said, it's in the garages. It's on the kids' jackets and skateboards and on their notebooks, and it's underground parties at houses because big money came in, and there's no cool clubs. There's very few clubs where kids can go and play and see bands, and so it's all out there. It's all out there.
Me personally, I have a lot of fun with Special C. And I just have fun. I mean, just coming to practice is fun. In my dreams, I'd like to somehow make a living at it, but I'd be happy just to have fun at it.
Yeah, just having fun and playing shows. I absolutely love being in front of an audience and being judged one way or the other. Yeah, jamming with these guys. I jam with a lot of other people, but something brings me back to these two knuckleheads.
But I agree, I just have a lot of fun playing music with these guys and creating, you know, music, and like Evan said, playing shows is a lot of fun. And I feel like we're extra blessed because where we're from, we get to like carry the torch, and being from here is like even better when you're in a band, I think. Because other bands in other areas, like, it's a lot harder. Like, being in a band in South Bay is pretty fun. The one venue I'd like to play is the Stone Pony in Jersey.
No, I wouldn't mind playing the House Blues Sunset. That'd be a cool one. But other than that, they're all, one club's the same as any other club to me. Doesn't matter.
Is there a House of Blues in Rio de Janeiro? I could do that.
Yeah. Or the Caribbean.
That sounds good.
We were fortunate enough to play Brixton, and they were cool enough to hook us up with a recording that's the Live at Brixton. The Viper Room, that's when we were in our drunken phase and we kind of were lame, but there's still a recording out there of that.
It's a great show, though.
It is a great show, funny. And we have the split CD that we did with Local Hate, 5 songs each, and that's just on 2828 Records. And we're going into the recording studio at Screaming Leopard to go do our full length and to release some previous unreleased songs that everyone's heard but are just not released. So that'll put us at what, 4? We will have 4 CDs, yay. I see punk in the South Bay in 10 years thriving. Actually, there's a lot of cool young bands coming up. Set on Right, for one, they're so powerful and their music's original. I think it's going to be rad. It's totally coming back.
I see it pretty much in the same place, just it's going to look a little different. Just like it looks a little different from it than it did 20 years ago. And it'll keep going. It's just part of the heritage of the South Bay.
What's up, guys? This is our jam room. This is where we practice for our live shows. But you can see it's our room. We keep all of our memorabilia, flyers, set lists from bands we like, flyers from bands we liked and have played in, shows we've played, set lists from lots of bands, the fish sticks, posters. We have it all in here, so we don't have to stare at one another. We could just stare at the walls and play killer music and write cool songs for you guys. Peace.